Hello students, today we will deal our topic on physics. Okay, the topic is human year and it is the topic of physics class 9th in which we will deal how the human year works. The human year is consists of three parts: the outer part, the middle part as well as the inner ear. Now how it works we will see later. See, this is the human ear. The human ear, which is the outer part, which you can easily see, this part is what called pinna. Now what's the works of it? The works of this human ear is to collect the sound from the surrounding. And right now this sound waves is goes towards a canal, goes towards the canal, which passes from it to the end point of where there is a eardrum. See, this sound waves collected from the surroundings is passes through this canal, and this canal is called what? Auditory canal. This canal is called what? Auditory canal. And at the end of it there is a eardrum, and this eardrum is called what? Tympanic membrane. Now what happens actually? The moment this sound waves comes closer to the eardrum, it pushes it. Why it pushes it? Because sound waves is a longitudinal waves, and this sound waves is longitudinal waves. That's why it has compression. Compression means highest pressure area. Because of this highest pressure area, it pushes the eardrum to be inside, and when the rarefaction comes, this pressure becomes less and eardrums comes its original position or outwards to it. And this inward outward of the eardrum as a vibration by the sound waves. Because of compression and rarefaction, these vibrations is collected by the middle ear. Now middle ear, this middle ear, this is the middle ear, and this middle ear is consists of hammer, anvil and stirrup. These hammer, anvil and stirrup are three bones which amplified these pressure variations or the vibrations. These amplified pressure variations and the vibrations goes towards the inner ear. Inner ear, there is a word inner ear, and this inner ear is consists of cochlea. Now what cochlea is going to do? This cochlea makes this pressure variations or the amplified pressure variations to be converted into electrical signals, and this electrical signals then goes towards our brain, where brain interprets the sound, but by which path it goes towards the brain. The path is called auditory nerve. Means when the amplified pressure variations is converted into electrical signals by this cochlea, goes towards the brain by this auditory nerve, where the brain interprets what sound is this. In this manner our human ear works. Now the question arises, sir, you have told that the sound waves is called longitudinal waves. Why it is so? To understand why it is so, we must have to go towards our next diagram. This is the diagram of longitudinal waves, where there is a compression. This part, the region where the particles are close to each other. If the particles are very close to each other, means definitely there is the density is high, there is a pressure is high, and this region is called what? Compression. This region is called what? Compression. Now another, there is also a region where the particles and this sound wave are separated from each other. If they separated from each other, then definitely there is density is low, pressure is low, and this area is called rarefaction. Rarefaction. Okay. Now I think, is this clear to you? What do you mean by compression and rarefaction? Because of this having compression and rarefaction, the sound waves is called what? Longitudinal waves. Now we must have to see the graphical representation of the density or pressure with respect to the distance traveled by this longitudinal waves or sound waves. See, density or pressure with respect to the distance traveled by the sound waves. Now, there is a word crest. What crest is? Crest is this peak point. Crest is what? This is the peak point where the density is high. Highest density and highest pressure is there of the particles. It's called what? Crest. And in opposite way, there must be some reason where density is lowest, pressure is lowest, and that part or that point is called what? Trough. See, this is the valley part, is the area where pressure is low or the density is very much low. It's called what? Trough. Now we have divided the graph into two parts, the upper part and lower part, and this line is called what? Zero disturbance lines. And the upper part, this upper part is represents the compression. Represents what? Compression. And the lower part of this graph represents rarefaction. And what the compression is, what the rarefaction is, I have already deal you. Next, the arrow. This arrow shows what? Amplitude. Means amplitude is the area or the maximum distance traveled by the media or the particles of the medium with respect to this baseline. With respect to this zero disturbance lines, it is the maximum distance traveled by the particles within the medium itself. It's called what? Amplitude. Now, next, this length. What this length is called? This length is called what? Wavelength. Then what do you mean by the wavelength? Wavelength is the distance in between two consecutive crusts or two consecutive trough, or in another way you can say that it is the distance in between two consecutive compression or two consecutive rarefaction. See how this is the two consecutive rarefaction, then the distance between this is called what? Wavelength. As well as this, the distance between two consecutive compression, this distance is called what? Wavelength. And the distance between two consecutive rarefaction is called what? Also wavelength. Okay, now this is all about the thing of your longitudinal waves. Now another the question arises, sir, what do you mean by that the sound waves is also called the mechanical wave? Yes, the sound wave is also called the mechanical wave, but why is it so? Is it so because within the sound there is a particles and the movement of particle is there? The movement of particle means back forth, back forth, back forth motion is there, and it vibrates to its or oscillates to its mean position. And this oscillation or back forth motion of this particles within the media makes the sound waves to be called as mechanical waves, because there is a mechanical motion. Now another question arises, sir, which fluid is within the ear itself? Then the name of fluid is otitis media effusion, or it is also called servus otitis media. This is the name of the fluid within the ear itself. Now this is all about your human ear physics class 9th. So students, keep trying to have a best study. Thank you on behalf of Success Academy, Director Kranti sir. Thank you.